All right. Welcome everyone. We're officially starting now. I'm really excited to see all of you and share one of the most powerful and easy ways to transform any block. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to break down what is a block, just explain a little bit of the theory behind it. And then I'm going to briefly share the protocol that I use. Now, there's a simple way of doing it, and there's a tool or more tools for each part of it that you may choose to also use. And it depends on your spiritual background, it depends on your preference. So when I share some of the tools, just remember that they are permission slips and they're not absolutely needed, but they're some of my favorite ways that make the process, for me at least, a lot easier and faster and more effective. And so you can always use the tools, but remember that we are creating our reality on such a deep level. And they're just permission slips to help us to remember that and to transform. And then after I share, a few minutes of this in a more mental conceptual form, we're just going to go into the experiential. And anyone who wants, we'll have time for at least a few of you to share your deepest block, whatever the thing you're ready to completely transform in a few minutes. And we'll go ahead and do that with you. And it's really powerful. Some of you have experienced this in the past, and we just started the recording. So the only thing is, if you want to receive a complimentary session, it's just going to be recorded so that other people can also learn from it. All right, so let's get started. So what is a block? Really, a block is a perception. Our whole reality is based off perception. And oftentimes we've been programmed to frame things in a way that are just a story. And many of us have gone so deep into living in a story that even if we've been on the spiritual path for years, we're still stuck in it. And so what we're really doing is rewriting our story, because our subconscious is creating this script for us. And our subconscious is infinitely more powerful than our small self, which is our conscious mind. So our conscious mind can only process a few bits of information a second, but our subconscious mind is not just absorbing every little detail and subliminal around us, but is also projecting into the future all of these things. So if we have this belief that a certain process is going to be difficult, like, oh man, healing my relationship with my mom, I've tried for years, it's like climbing Mount Everest, then your subconscious can also create all these additional challenges, and you're not going to be as open, and you're going to already show up differently when you're trying to heal things with your mom. But then one day you might just realize, hey, I'm just gonna tell my truth and be easy. And you show up with an open heart, and your mom might magically just transform. Because what's cool about triggers is we're co-creating reality together. So who here has been triggered before by someone? Raise your hand. So beautiful. So I'm just making sure everyone's human here. Never know who comes in the Zoom sometime. Um, what's cool about triggers is that we are 100% responsible for them. So someone outside of us, it might seem, will cause the trigger. What's really happening is something is reflecting on the outside that is something usually from our childhood that will point back to some unresolved issue. But on a metaphysical level, it goes even deeper. So, my friend, for example, he had trauma about being teased. He was teased a lot as a child and made fun of. And then when me and my friends were around him, we would start teasing him. And then we realized, well, it's actually a thought form. So because he has such a belief of being teased, it actually can grab other people into it. And of course, it's still our responsibility on how we show up. And we had a beautiful clearing, like, wow, but that's how deep it goes, where even if we don't want it on a conscious level, if we have a subconscious belief, the thought form itself will magnetize experiences to us and keep triggering us. And that's why it's often these patterns go on for years and years. It's like, why does this keep happening? It's because we haven't fully faced it. And so this technique is showing you how to reveal the core of the situation, how to alchemize it, and then how to permanently shift it by strengthening your muscles, so to speak, your consciousness at the end of it. So I'm going to go through the basics. The first step is you're going to set the container. And this whole time, we're going to be using a tension releasing breath. So it's very simple: in through the nose, out through the mouth. So let's all just begin breathing that way. Just nice, gentle breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. When we exhale out of the mouth, it's the fastest and easiest way to release tension. And what happens is all these blocks, it's just an accumulation of tension. It can be story, it can be feelings, which is just energy. And sometimes just breathing will already start dissolving it, because sometimes you can feel people tensing up and they're triggered, or they're just feeling, they're holding on. It's control, it's the ego. And this breath helps to just keep things moving. And that alone is incredible. So remember to use this breath throughout the day, and especially when you feel tense, because we want to just keep ourselves free of tension throughout the day. And as soon as something triggers us or makes us feel tense, we can use this breath even more, and even do it a little faster for a few breaths, shake, just use our bodies to just release the tension, just like a dog who got wet, just shake it off as fast as possible. Because it's not about processing. Sometimes we can just stay stuck in a story, like he did this to me, and we loop it for days or months or years. But oftentimes what we're holding on to is other people's energies, and we just need to release the actual energy and not get stuck in the thought forms, which are just illusion. We want to just clear the actual energy that we somehow attach to. So the breath is very important. So the first step is setting the container. So I like to call on my guides, angels, based off your beliefs and your preferences, but it just takes me a few seconds. I just set the intention in my head. There's different ways you can do it. But the main way, if you do want to call on the support of God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you're just saying it in present tense command form. So for example, I call on all my angels and guides to craft a portal for instant transformation for the highest good, right? So that's just one example of anything you can say. So just set an intention. Now, what I also like to do is you can craft a portal. So for example, and of course, when you just imagine and set the intention, it will happen as we are learning in dream porting and as you've learned in different experiences in your life. So I like to actually make two portals. I like to make like a black hole vortex below someone's feet. So you can just visualize it and see it spinning, and you're just commanding it that any negative energy is instantly released from that person, and it just goes into the earth and is transmuted. So when that happens, people already start having a release, which is really cool. And it just makes the process a lot faster. So it's kind of like when you're going to the dentist, there's that little tube that like sucks up all the extra water. It's kind of like that, right? It's just, now you're automating the energy healing, so to speak. And then I like to put one above them that's like a golden portal that just continually shines golden energy to quickly heal and give them clarity. So now you have two portals spinning, one that's sucking up all the negative going down, and one that's shining down, continually placing golden energy and healing energy on them from the divine. So to do this, you can visualize it. Even if you have problems visualizing, you can just use your thoughts or words and say it. And the more you practice it, the faster and easier it gets. Maybe the first time you might have some beliefs come up, and it might take you a minute to really visualize it and feel it. But the more you practice and do these things, the faster, just like anything, it can become just like driving. You don't even think about it. You just kind of picture it in a second, and then it's happening, and then you keep going with your process. So I invite you to make it your own. The most important thing here is that I'm giving you some tools and I'm giving you a protocol. But the more that you use your heart, the more that you mean it and use your imagination, the better it's going to be, whether you're working on yourself or others. And the reason is, it's because your own creativity and imagination and your heart is really the limitation on what transformation can occur. So the more you let go and get out of the way and just allow things to happen without trying to use your small self, your mind, to be like, well, am I doing it right? You just set a very clear, simple intention, which is more like the masculine. You be decisive. It's like, okay, this energy is clearing. And then the feminine is you stay open to your intuition, and you let visuals, you let the abstract just happen and allow it to happen. It's the law of surrender and allowance. So I'm going to break these down, and we're going to do some so you get to experience it. And then we'll answer questions. But I just wanted to share that as the basis for setting the container. The next step is the reveal. So usually, if you're working on someone else, it's usually located in a certain part of your body. Like, oh, I'm feeling pain in my heart, right? Or I'm feeling like a tar on my head. It could be a shape, it could be a color, it could be a type of texture. So, and remember, your body is your subconscious. So your body has so much intelligence. And when we stop trying to figure it out all in our mind and just tune into our subconscious, usually it's very simple. It could be like, oh, I just feel scared. I don't feel safe. I want love. And so when we tune in, we find where it is in our body primarily and what the actual energy is. It doesn't matter if you can see it or not, but sometimes that helps. But at least speak to it and ask, hey, what's going on? What do you need? And then we get closer to the core of the issue. Now, a tool that we can use for that is the white flame. And again, you don't have to remember this all up front because I'm going to guide you through this. But the white flame, it's just a visualization. It's an energy that, like a flash grenade, you can just point it at anything and it will reveal the core truth of a situation. So it's a way to really upgrade your intuition and just use that visualization, a white fire or white light, and then just receive like you're watching a movie and just see what the first thing comes and just trust your intuition, right? And you might see, oh, I saw your mom pop up, right? And it will show you a vision, or you might get an insight or a feeling. And the more, again, you practice it and trust that first instinct, the greater your intuition will become because you're simply trusting and allowing more information into your consciousness. So once we reveal what the focus is for the session, then step 3 is communicate. And that's a process of self-inquiry. So often I'll ask a few follow-up questions until I feel, oh, okay, we reached the core of it. So, we just want to go deeper and deeper. Right now I'm teaching it like you're doing it on someone else, but the same process goes for yourself as well. But you want to just ask a few questions if needed to make sure that we're at the core of it. Sometimes the person will answer vaguely. It's like, oh, I need love. It's like, well, why do you need love? Or what kind of love do you need? And then you get to the core of like, oh, I just want to be held right now, or I feel alone. And then we're like, okay, loneliness seems to be the core block or challenge, right? And then we can really zero in on it. So it's important to really feel, this is a very intuitive process. So it's really about feeling and being curious. And it's not like a mechanical process where like, do this and this and this. It's about using our intuition and really allowing that to zoom in on the core issue. So that's communicate. And you'll see as we kind of speak with a few of your blocks, your inner childs, whatever you want to call it. And then step 4 is we're shifting the frequency. This is the fun part because now, for example, your inner child said, I want to feel safe. We can then tune into the frequency of safety and recreate it. And you'll receive what you've been wanting. And this is sometimes what causes addiction. We're just on our phone all day because we just want a hug and we're not getting that hug. And so when we allow that frequency in through this special process, and I like to often pair it with the dream porting breath, then it allows us to go really deep. And then the more you practice it, often you don't even need it. It can go from 10, 15 minutes often to, sometimes I do this on people and in 2 or 3 minutes, they're completely transformed because you're just finding the answer and giving it to that part of you. And then it feels at peace again. And you've really cleared that block. But then the last part is the most important because you might feel like you've cleared it and it might come back. And it's not bad if it comes back. Sometimes it's like you get to take care of your inner child. But what's really happening is now you have the deep clarity on it. You feel better, yet you want to really tune into the action to strengthen that muscle. So your intuition might say, okay, now you get to spend 5 minutes every morning and right before bed and communicate with your inner child and ask what it needs and give it to that. And what that does is it creates that bond that's been missing, which has been the core of your phone addiction or whatever's been happening. And you download the protocol that you need to balance yourself, to strengthen that muscle that was weak or heal that wound, so to speak. But the cool thing is that even if you had the wildest trauma as a child, I sure did, it's all perception because this is the only moment now that is real and everything else is a memory, it's a dream. So we can actually completely transform what seems like the biggest blocks, what seems like Mount Everest, just by shifting the way we see things. And so the power of our imagination and our perspective is truly the key here. And so as we do some of these sessions, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And then we can also answer some Q&A and go from there. So what I'll do is I'll do at least one or two of these, and then I'll break down what happened, and then we'll go from there. So if you would like a quick one-on-one session to transform one of your blocks, go ahead and just type yes in the chat. Okay, so I see the first person, Daniel. So would you like to unmute?
Hey, Daniel.
Hey.
Pleasure
so
meeting
go
you.
ahead and just share briefly what it is the block you're ready to transform.
This is in product creation. So I'm in a business building mode right now. And so I'm building a business asset. And sometimes there's things that prevent me from knowing what the right next step is. And there's probably some fear. There's probably some other things, but something around the product creation and getting rollout and getting traction.
What is the fear?
Does that make sense? There's a story that there was a past self of me that was better than the current version of me.
And why is that?
Something seems more resourceful in the past.
Why do you think that is?
I was lit up. I had a lot of really amazing experiences then, and I'm not having those now.
And do you have any idea why that is?
I think it was the environment that I was in and people that I was around.
So you're being fed more by your past environment?
Yes.
And why do you feel like that's not the case now?
My current environment feels much different. I would have a lot of like revelations where I would just have creative journaling that would happen at my last place. That's not happening now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's look under the hood and see if we can support you in creating that more excited creative energy again within yourself. Yeah. So go ahead and close your eyes. We're just all going to send some golden light to Daniel to support him. Just feeling and visualize golden light going into him. And Daniel, just start feeling as you're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just feel where in your body you feel that tension the most, whether it's fear or whatever negative emotion it is.
It oscillates between just behind the sternum and then the lower part of my spine.
Perfect. And let's ask that energy, what do you need?
Love, acceptance.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and imagine this pink energy of just pure love and acceptance. And the universe is made up of that. So you're completely surrounded by this pink energy of love and acceptance. And start breathing it in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just letting yourself completely fill up with that energy. It's going into your bloodstream, into your body. You start breathing it into your pores, and we're all just sending that energy to you. Now, as you're feeling that, I'm going to ask you, even though you felt a bit less creative recently, what is one gift that came from that? Maybe going inwards more, learning something. What's a gift that came from that?
Well, I didn't have the idea to turn it into a business until I got here. So that's a big shift. That's a big difference.
Beautiful. Yeah. And oftentimes when we switch into a business, a lot of new things come up. So it could seem like a block, but it's just that now you're interfacing with different people, money, a lot of stuff comes up, and that often happens. So if you change your perspective from seeing this like a block, like your environment's wrong or anything's wrong, and seeing, oh, I'm just being initiated into the business now. I can forgive myself for any stories that I did anything wrong. And by loving and accepting yourself, you now get to merge and expand and integrate the creativity that's always been inside. So go ahead and just breathe that in and really focus on that area in your belly, which is your creative center. Breathing in that energy there and just accepting it and just surrendering to whatever wants to happen. Breathing out any control, any stories. And just visualize what it will look like if you completely accept yourself. Just show yourself a scene from the future. How is your business and your creativity going to go?
Yeah, I'm feeling it in my I'm feeling it in my system. I'm I'm feeling the impact that I'm having in a positive way.
Beautiful. And so I feel the key is not as much your environment. You can always curate that, but it's really just acceptance, because that's going to release the brakes, right? Just trusting that what you went through was part of your process to go to the next level. And remember, when we crouch down, it's only so we can jump higher than ever before. And that's how life works. It's like a sine wave. Feeling blocked or feeling sad, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually part of the natural flow of life. And it's about going inside to get something deeper, to get deeper gold, to then share it. And that's what happens when we start a business often. So now let's tune into what's one thing that you can do daily for the next few weeks that will support you in just trusting and accepting what is every day.
Um, well, part of my thing is creating a flow state, and
Mm-hmm.
so like stepping into that flow state more fully. Like I've got it conceptualized, but living it is still like the blocks I think have been changing just now, but I've been having some resistance some way.
Well, resistance is what stops your flow,
Yeah.
and surrender is the key to flow.
Yep.
So, what I feel would be to practice using your muscle of surrender. So, it can be just sitting for a few minutes once or twice a day and just accepting whatever's happening. So, let's all experience that right now. So, let's all take a minute and close our eyes and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth and just surrender to whatever's happening. So that means if we're having a negative thought, if we still feel there's tension in our, we just allow it to be there. We're no longer trying to say, I need to change something. I need to work faster. I need to do more. So let's get breathing and just see how much deeper we can just let go. Because there's really no limit to how deep we can let go. And remember that when the small self stops controlling, your great self can truly give you and help you flow into your dreams. So just continue breathing. And what are you feeling, Daniel?
Feeling a lot of calm, feeling like a low hum, like a buzz of movement, like the
Yeah.
stuck thing is just kind of like particleized and starting to move.
That's a great way of saying it. When we're moving from, physical to waves of energy, it means we're back in the true perspective of flow. And so if you just do this one thing every day, I know some billionaires that do this 2 hours every day. They sit and just surrender. That's it. What we just did. And it might seem like a lot, but then the rest of the day they're in a complete flow, because it's training our small self, which thinks it knows. It keeps trying to control. But what it's doing is putting the brakes on. We're trying to ski and it's putting the brakes on the whole time. And the trick is that it's been telling us a story that we need to do that. We need to control. We need to keep changing things. When in fact, it's the opposite. It's that there's all these intentions we've already asked the universe, and the small self is just blocking it because it's holding on. And so even if it's going from like this to like this, just a little bit less control, that's going to do a lot. We're going to move a lot faster. And so now we have the key is surrender for you. And I think that's great. So just, if you keep that as your focus for the next month, you will completely transform. And I have a great feeling that you will. So thank you for sharing and being open.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. All right, we'll do one more and then I think I'll break it down. So next person is Sonia.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. I have been on a spiritual journey for a long time, but I feel like I have a belief that is preventing me from being that expansive person that I know I am. And it prevents me from being visual and prevents me from being as intuitive as I can be.
And what is that belief?
It just feels safe if I don't do that.
Okay. Well, let's go inside and see what's going on. So start breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, opening the portal. And feel in your body, where does that energy feel the most strong of not being safe?
In my throat and back.
Okay, perfect. So let's go to your throat first, and let's ask the energy in your throat, why don't you feel safe?
What will others say?
And what's the memory that comes up around that when you were young and that happened?
I have no idea because I don't remember my childhood.
Okay. What is the feeling that comes up
But
when I asked you that?
sadness.
Yeah. Do you remember even a glimpse? Did you feel people made fun of you as a child, or?
I have heard that there was a teacher in school who did kind of made fun of me in front of the whole class.
Got it. Do you have any idea why he chose you to make fun of?
Because I complained against him.
Yeah. And do you know why you complained against him?
Because he used to beat up the students.
Yeah. So you were actually more conscious than the other students. You were awake. You had a soul, and everyone else was already kind of like robots. And so you got punished for being awake as a child. And it was traumatizing because the adults who were supposed to be more advanced than you often were a lot less advanced. And so just try to block it off. You had what I feel is a part of your soul kind of dissociate. And that's why you don't have a lot of memories. Do you feel ready to reconnect with that part of you now? Okay, beautiful. So it's already happening. Just take some deep breaths. And we're all sending golden energy to your throat. Being this classroom now that's completely safe with unconditional love for you, allowing you to express yourself. And so what would you say to that teacher now if he was here in front of you? If you can speak that out loud, because that's going to help free your voice.
I think he was hurting too.
Yeah, so speak directly to him. Pretend he's right there and speak directly to him.
Yeah, you were hurting too, and just because you were hurt, you don't need to hurt all the children. You need to
Good.
make them feel safe.
Good. So now it's about you helping your inner child feel safe. So you have that younger girl still in you. So now let's connect to her and speak directly to her and tell her that you commit to helping her feel safe from now on. And so ask her, what do you need to feel safe to fully express yourself again?
The joy, to allow
Joy.
joy in.
And what's stopping you from joy?
I can't feel.
Okay. Are you ready to feel again?
Yeah.
Are you ready to let go of the story that you can't feel?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So what are you feeling right now in your heart?
A little more open.
Good. So let's all send you some beautiful golden light into your heart and just receive. Take some deep breaths and feel the love as we're healing this memory and giving your inner child, that little girl, the safety, the love, where no matter what you say or do, you're completely accepted and loved. And we honor your gifts and your courage for speaking up back then, because that's your superpower. And we're just inviting in all parts of your soul, your consciousness, your power, and your energy that was disconnected throughout your life to return to you now. So start taking some deep breaths. Let's breathe in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Deep breaths. Completely fill up your belly on the inhale. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Good. And just breathe all of that back in, saying it's safe to feel again. It's safe to fully be me. There we go. Letting it all come in. Keep going, just breaking through, trusting that now is the time. You chose this moment to reconnect with these parts of you. And it might feel intense for a moment, but you're ready for it. And it's actually going to be easier to live your life this way. To let go of this chapter of being blocked and open up in a whole new way. There we go. It's opening. Keep breathing. They're doing it now. Beautiful. Just feeling the energy move throughout your throat, into your heart. Feeling supported, which is opening your back as well. Reconnecting your wings, reconnecting all parts of you. Just letting go, surrendering. Telling your inner child, I stand up for you, and you are safe to fully be here again. You are a hero, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's safe now. We're ready. There we go. Just feeling that deep opening. And just checking in again. How are you feeling right now?
Lighter, more open, more expansive.
So let's check in with your heart. How is your heart feeling?
Good. Wow. It's safe to allow joy.
Beautiful. So now imagine the whole world is made of joy and like a golden energy, and just start breathing in the joy. We're all sending you some joyous energy. And joy is about just enjoying this moment. Even though we had a lot of hard things happen to us in the past, this moment is perfect. And we can just allow ourselves to smile just even a little bit. It opens up the energy for the joy to come through. And just, it's giving us permission. It's like, no matter what happened, I'm giving myself permission to feel joy right now. So let's all just smile a little bit and feel that joy moving through us and sending that joy to Sonia, who is a hero, who's full of courage and love.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Are you feeling more?
Yeah.
What are you feeling?
I haven't even cried in a long time, so it's unusual for me
That's
to
great.
even open that up. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
That's beautiful. So the last part is, we're just going to tune in, is what can you do each day that will help you to feel more, to be present? Because when we dissociate, what happens is we can stay mental and our feeling body gets disconnected because it was too much. So let's tune in and ask your inner child, what can I do to feel and connect with you more each day?
Just be more light, be more joy.
Be more joy.
Do
So connect to things that will give you joy every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So what I would do is ask your inner child each morning, what's one thing that you want to do today? It could be going on a walk or calling a friend, and just giving that to yourself, giving you that gift. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
again.
Thank you so much for your courage. All right. So we are going to just pause for a moment, and I'm just going to debrief. So as you can see, that the questions that I'm asking, they're usually just a few words, right? It's kind of just mirroring back a fragment so that they can go deeper and really uncover what the deeper part is. So it's really like a game, you know. You're staying curious, you're staying open, and you're just really pointing back a mirror so that they themselves can experience that healing and awakening. So when we're doing this on someone else, it's important to realize that we are actually not doing anything. We're not the healers. Their great self, their subconscious, the universe is the healer, and we're simply playing a game where we're just putting up a mirror and pointing out things to guide them back to their own healing, because they're always creating their own reality. So the more that we get out of the way, the more powerful the healing is, because we're not trying to control it with a small me. We're just staying open in a childlike state of wonder, right? I don't think at any moment you saw me really tensing up or trying to push anything, right? Whatever comes up, it's okay. And that's really great, whether someone's crying or laughing or screaming. If you can just stay neutral, then it's actually, you're getting out of the way and you're trusting that that's perfect for this moment. You're not trying to change anything. And as they're doing that, you're getting them out of story and having them feel. Because once you feel something, even for a second, that's what healing is. We've blocked ourselves from feeling some painful things as children usually. And when we just choose to feel that, even for a moment, some miraculous things happen, and it liberates ourselves from that frozen energy where we created a block and said, hey, don't go there. Access denied. This is too dangerous. This is too painful. And so when we're doing this work, just by asking the right questions and tuning into the person, making sure they're feeling, and then, you know, see how easy it is. I'm not even giving the answers. I'm just asking, pointing, you know, and it's important to speak directly to that part of you, whether it's your inner child or a block, whatever you want to call it. It's so different than, you know, we could do an hour coaching call and speak just on the mental level and not go as deep, because the mind will have all sorts of things and stories and processes, right? And that's what a lot of conventional therapy is. And that's why it could take 10 years. You know, you won't make a lot of progress. And so the key is, you're not asking their small self, their mind, you're asking the part of them that is in that state, that's directly into the subconscious. And then you'll get really quickly the core answer, and then you can give the resolution. And it's kind of like a short film, right? So first you're opening it up. The climax is the communication, the catharsis, whatever it is. You're receiving the energy or the emotion that you've been wanting. And then now you have a daily task to do, which will strengthen that and balance you very, very quickly. And so the key is no excuses, right? It's like when the little thought comes up, you wake up like, oh, I don't need to do this today. I feel okay. It's like, make sure you do it, because that's the ego that might want to keep you back in the past. Because what's going to happen if you truly accept yourself, or if you truly feel each day, your life, your whole identity is going to completely transform. So that's the most important part, is loving yourself enough to do this little task that's going to allow you to make the quantum leap in your life, because your identity is going to transform, and that's going to completely transform your environment and whatever is, and allowing you to receive more intimacy and love. And so it's important to really commit to whatever your own intuition has guided you to do, as simple as that sounds. So let's do another one. Let's see who is here now next on the list. Jan, would you like to go?
Hi, can you
Hi,
hear me?
Jan.
Hi.
Yes.
I listened to your introduction video this morning, and for me, it's almost like the ultimate in destination. And I have this thing that comes up, and it says it'll work for everyone else, but not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that really pisses me off.
What makes you so special?
I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
Strange question.
So why don't you close your eyes? You're doing great. This is going to be a great one. I feel it. So,
well, trust me, I'm pretty ready.
Yeah, I feel it. You're totally ready. You're about to have a huge breakthrough, a lifetime breakthrough. So go ahead and just start breathing and close your eyes when you're ready. And I want you to just locate where in your body do you feel the most tension right now, the most pain.
I don't feel anything.
Well, you were feeling things a few moments ago because you were crying, right?
It's because I know it and it hurts me.
Where does it hurt you?
Well, it would be obviously my heart.
Yeah, that's where I feel it. That's where I feel it. Good. So go ahead and just amplify that feeling. So if someone's having trouble feeling, we just want to go deeper into it. So just breathe into your heart and focus on the feeling. Just take a few breaths and I want you to just feel it as much as you can. That pain, even though we don't like feeling it.
I guess I've felt it all the way through. It's such a stuck place because it feels so, in a sense, hopeless. So there's no more feeling anymore. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, well, that it can turn, if you have a lifelong thing, and it can turn to apathy or numbness. But whatever you're feeling,
defiant. Yeah. It makes me more more defiant, more sort of like, even in a way, controlling. And that's what your video talked about, was this control. It's like, oh my God, like how do I surrender to something that I can't even trust in?
Well, we can do that right now if you're ready.
Well, I'm ready.
Okay, so what I invite you to do is just breathe into whatever you're feeling, even if it feels like numbness. Just focus on the frequency in your heart. And I want you to ask your heart, what do you need for this to be good again? What do you need to let go?
Trust.
How can I help you trust more? What do you need in order to trust?
Oh, so many safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you need in order to feel safe right now?
I just need myself. I just need to trust myself.
Yeah. And I think you're doing that right now by being on this call. Even though you're feeling resistance, you're choosing to trust. So remember to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, because that's helping you let go. There's a really big thing in there that's about to be released. So if you just keep breathing in through the nose, deep breaths, out through the mouth. Remember, deep breaths out of the mouth. There we go. Or just sending golden light to your heart to help you forgive this protection mechanism that's been there and disidentify with it, realizing there's nothing wrong with you. You, as a beautiful and pure spirit, chose to come to this world and have some crazy things happen, just like all of us. And then, of course, our body will shut down so we can learn some lessons. And today you're ready to completely transform it. And as long as you breathe and choose to let go of the story.
It's almost like I want to laugh. Well,
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening. You're letting go of a huge tension. You're letting go of a huge tension. It's gonna go 180 degrees to bliss real fast. So you have the permission to laugh hysterically and cry at the same time. There we go. You're releasing a huge story that you took it personally. You're like, there must be something wrong with me. I've tried
yeah,
this before.
I just feel
Mhm.
this huge strength. I just feel this huge strength. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the strength of your heart.
Oh, wow.
That's you. Welcome back. Give yourself a hug. Welcome back.
You've been away so long.
Yeah. But that's just the story, because right now is the only moment. So how does it feel to have your strength back?
It's not that it's not familiar, but it's something that I did not own like this. Yeah.
And that's because there was just a story there. There's a story, a belief that used to say, this won't work for me.
Well, I guess I always thought that God forgot me, forgot about me, is my
Well,
story.
the cool thing, this is a cool tool for anyone. Whenever we have a projection, you could say, God forgot me, or you never listened to me, or whatever it is that we say about another, it's really about ourselves, because we are everything. We're just experiencing it. So you could say you temporarily forgot yourself. You forgot how powerful you were.
And how does that work with compassion or empathy? Is that what I'm seeing out there? Not that it's not there. Well, I guess it isn't there. I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Well, we are pure love, and we're so powerful that we can temporarily give meaning to events or stories. And by the power of your free will, which you've been gifted for this life, you are going to experience a life where you'll temporarily feel rejected by God or whatever it is. It's a meaning we give to things. It's a belief, and our belief, the limits of our beliefs and our imagination is what we can experience in this life. Fiona is saying, when I sent gold to your heart, it looked white, almost like it was stone or frozen. And the gold started to evaporate the white and change it to gold. And then it was blasting into your heart. Yeah, that's beautiful. Who else felt like a stone at first? It felt like literally like a big stone that was wanting to be released. And you see how fast it happened. We didn't have to process it in a linear way. What sometimes it's like a DJ booth. It's like, she needs more surrender. She just needs to breathe, because it's like you're holding on, right? And as soon as you give yourself one moment of actually letting go, it can be released, because we already set the container, right? We already set the container that whatever block is going to be there is going to be transformed. That's not a question, that's a given. And how can we be so confident that's going to happen? It's because every single block really is just an illusion. It's a story. And when we detach from the identity, from the meaning, and saying like, there's something wrong with me or with my environment or whatever it is, then we know that all we're doing is shifting perspective, which is, being flexible with our mind. And we're also flexing our feelings, our subconscious, by breathing and just letting the energy move instead of keeping it in a certain way. So it's kind of like a workout for your soul. And so when we can both be flexible with your mind, which is simply how you see and perceive things, and with your feeling body, which often just using that breath, it's so simple, right? Or just focusing and feeling something for a minute, right? So at first, Jan, you said you didn't feel anything, but what was actually going on was there was a resistance to feeling some of what was there. And that's the control. And when you truly just put your attention there and breathe, I didn't do anything. You just started laughing, because it just instantly released all this tension. It's like a volcano that's like, oh, I don't want to look at you. This always happens. And then once you just feel it, poof, it's transformed. It's that simple. And so we can really learn a lot from this and realize, wow, this is, it's actually so simple and easy to do this technique. And it's beautiful that everyone we're doing together is so different. So we can see just different angles, right? There's just different facets of how we can do this.
So that story that's been there for so long is transmuted, like it's just sort of blown apart.
Well, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I guess I get challenged by wondering if I'm thinking about it too much, or is this really the way it is?
Yeah, well,
by that I mean
mhm.
trying to think that I've done it okay, or
Right, I can feel
so
you
many
thinking about that. That's normal sometimes.
variations of that.
Well, it seems like you're a lot lighter and you're laughing right now. So it feels like you're in a good space. And remember, we're always creating our reality. So just as easy as we can release a block, we can create a block and bring it back if you really want to.
Right.
And
Okay.
so
That makes a lot of
we're gonna
sense.
do the next phase now, which is tuning into what you can do every day to really support you. So let's ask your intuition. Let's all tune in and see what's something that you can do daily for the next few weeks to help you truly transform.
There's something about this breath that just brings me home.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it come back. And one of the things that came up to me in our bliss exercises was like confidence. And then to have that part to confide in, that really
Yeah.
brings me home.
Well, the cool thing is that we're already infinitely powerful. We're already one with the universe, and we're just playing a game. So in any moment, you can become enlightened. And one of the fastest ways for you is just to breathe. Because even at first, I told you to breathe, and you were holding it, right, controlling it, and that's just that. It's something that you're retraining. So if you just commit to breathing this way throughout the day, then it's going to change your life. Now, this breath actually comes from a martial arts from Russia from centuries ago. And their system of training was that, we could be invaded at any moment. So we don't know what's going to happen. We just need to be free of tension. So whether we're farming or at dinner, we're just going to use this breath. And whenever we get triggered or, whatever happens, we can just release it really fast. What that happens when we're living in a state that's free of tension, we're surrendered. We're actually way more psychic. We can feel our environment. We're not holding on to anything. And our ability to, whether it's defend yourself or, perform at work, create whatever you want to create is, 10, 20x at least. It's amazing what happens. So it's just about using this breath to release tension as you go. It's so simple, right? But it's just our fight or flight can get activated sometimes, the stories. So sometimes we don't even need to process the stories. You might be like, oh, see, I have this negative thought again. Wait, just breathe. Sometimes it's often other people's energies. You just kind of shake it off, right? Instead of getting tricked into the story. And that's why this technique is so powerful. You don't want to do this in a messy way. If you're feeling like, hey, I'm feeling a block, I want to use this technique, just do it right. It can take 5 minutes, as you've seen, but don't start processing the stories while you're driving without setting the container, because it can become a trap.
Mhm.
We're not here to process the illusion. The illusion's the illusion. It's about awakening out of the illusion. So this is really going beyond healing. And that's why I don't call it healing. Healing happens, but really we're just awakening. And that's the cool part, because we can often see healing as linear. Be like, oh my God, I've had so much trauma and I have so many beliefs and it's been so many years, I've done all this healing. But we just need to live outside of the story to awaken and realize, oh, this is just an illusion. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself anymore. And that's one of the main ways the ego can trick us, right? Whether we're, sometimes I'll make jokes to try to like not be more authentic. So that's one way that I'm seeing myself to improve, right? And a lot of people also, oh, I'm too sensitive, or like that really hurt, and we can play as a victim, but really just, okay, well, just breathe. And whenever we feel a trigger, be like, okay, I'm feeling this right now. Don't blame it on someone else, because they're doing the best in that moment. That's just, you guys signed up to have that trigger together. And when you take radical responsibility, then, even like, Daniel, the first session, we talked about his environment. That's valid, but we really want to just always tune back into like, what is it inside? Because everything's a reflection of the inside. And so that's the first step in this process, because if it's something outside, then there's zero chance that you're going to transform it.
So is there ever a need to process the illusion?
If you feel that,
I
like, for example, if you're in a relationship and you get triggered, sometimes you can just take a few breaths and shake it out and do the work yourself. Sometimes it would be a lot easier to process it with that person. But remember that
do.
you want to always speak like, I feel that I felt hurt right after you said this, as opposed to blame or shame or projection. Being like, you made me feel this way, because that's not taking responsibility over your feeling. And so it's about tuning in and being like, should I process this now? Am I in the right state? Or am I feeling too much anger and I just need to do a little work myself first? Right. And so you can say, the story is telling me that you don't love me because of this, but then you're saying it as a story, and you're not giving it power. And so sometimes that's okay. It's just about tuning in. It's your process, and it's not about rushing through it. But the more that you follow these simple tools of reality, the faster and easier it is for you to transcend and then stabilize your awareness, where you're not really getting triggered that much, and you're not taking things personally, because you're not operating from the false self, which is a victim, or this always happens to me. And not only do you feel a lot better as you transcend that, but your manifestations change. You now have the capacity to receive 1,000 times more abundance and intimacy and all of these amazing things, because you're manifesting more and more from this great self, your true self. And
I
that's
love
what
that. Like it's like the like a permanent state of observation, really.
Yeah, and it's okay if we go back and forth. It's not like, oh, I just got
Right.
tricked again. I took a step backward. Think about it
Mhm.
like we're just stabilizing it. We're getting longer and longer periods in it. And sometimes, hey, we're starting a business. It might seem like we're going backwards, but there's just different initiations. So it's about not judging it, being compassionate, and as that happens, you evolve uh, in faster and deeper ways.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. So we're just going to take a break for just a minute and stretch, and then we'll return to do one or two more. Okay. So I think we'll do one more, and then again, we have these weekly now, so we'll always have more opportunities to do these sessions. So I'm just gonna choose. There's a few people here that haven't been on the calls yet, so I just want to tune in. How about Wessel? Would you like to go?
Yes. What's up, Daniel?
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's 3 o'clock in the morning in Bali.
Beautiful.
I've got is everyone ready? Can I go?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've got a blockage in my relationship, and my intuition has been telling me to leave and to break up, and she is showing up in such a major big way, making such massive changes that I am shifting that, and I'm staying in, and it feels that it cuts me off.
What
And
cuts you off?
the fact that I'm not following my intuition makes me feel that I'm in between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
In passive, staying in, being in, but being guarded and closed.
Right. So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Why do you feel is the main reason you're staying in the relationship then?
Fear of losing, fear of missing out on something potentially beautiful.
Mm. And what if you took space for a couple weeks, for example, to just allow both of you the space to integrate?
Yes, we can, but that doesn't happen.
In the past?
We've tried, but like it just never ends up. It's just like intense.
Mm-hmm. So you don't feel that's a possibility?
It's a possibility. It's like everything's just moving so fast. It's like if it feels that space would just actually end it.
Right. Okay. So let's tune in right now to your intuition. So what I want you to do, and this is a cool intuition technique we speak about a little bit in phase 1 of dream porting, but what I want you to do is we're just going to imagine a timeline. Let's say you decide to break up with her in the next few days here, and then you follow your highest excitement and go your own way and choose to release your guards and open yourself up as great as you can. How does that feel in your body?
It feels good.
How would you describe the feeling?
It feels grounded. It feels safe. It feels exciting. That feels exciting.
Yeah, beautiful. And so let's choose timeline 2. Let's say that you stay with her and keep on the same, trajectory you're currently going. Let's fast forward to a month from now. So now you're still with your current partner, and how does that feel?
It feels tense and overwhelming to me.
Okay. So what we just did is we fast forwarded, you actually can remote sense your future feelings. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen in a month if you stay with her, but now you have how you're going to feel overall in a month from now if you stay, and you know how you're going to feel probably in just a few days if you choose to trust and make the leap. So if you're open, we can support you in supporting you in whatever you want to do. And,
Yeah.
you know, it seems like there's your intuition and then you're feeling a block. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's just there's an opportunity for like longer term growth here, not just how I want to feel in a couple of days from now. That's
Mm-hmm.
really where I'm being torn. Longer term growth, like working through some deep layers of stuff with someone who's willing,
Mm-hmm.
versus wanting to feel good and relaxed and expansive next week.
So is your intuition telling you that this is the best way for you to grow right now?
There's a fear of missing an opportunity to grow through something that I can access with her. And in some way, it doesn't feel that that's what my soul wants to do now. It feels that my soul wants to like more integrate things into my own by myself.
Right. Yeah, I feel that too. Well, let's see. So just close your eyes, and where do you feel the tension or the pain most in your body?
Yeah, like my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's ask your heart, what do you need to be at peace?
Just some space.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some space.
Yeah. So what it feels like is your mind, there's thoughts and energies between you that keep pulling you in and haven't been given you this sufficient space. And there's concepts which sound good, where it's an opportunity for more growth, and you might lose something, but you know, you're saying that's a fear you have, right? So there's fear and there's concepts which are illusion, and then your soul, and you're saying your heart wants space, and your heart and your soul are connected to your intuition. They have a greater intelligence. And so what I invite you to do is simply to take a moment with your heart and connect, and say, I'm sorry if I wasn't listening to you enough before, and I'd love to hear more of your guidance right now. And just take a couple deep breaths, and let's all send some beautiful golden energy to help you receive clarity in your heart, to help you trust whatever you are guided to do. And what are you feeling right now?
It's like I'm gonna give you more guidance, but you need to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah, that's what I heard exactly.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so what I'm feeling, you know, again, I'm not attached to what you do, but what I'm sensing is that there's a cord of codependence between you, where it's creating a belief that, you know, I need you and you need me in order to grow more, or this. But what's happening is it's not giving you the opportunity for your nervous system to settle, to receive deeper clarity on your intuition, and truly act from that space.
totally.
And
Yeah,
so we don't, what often happens is a concept will be prioritized above our intuition because it sounds so good. It's stuck to a fear of like, oh, what if I lose this, or what if it's a missed opportunity? But it's really, those are the times when we take that leap, when we take that leap with our intuition, when our mind is trying to pull us into the opposite. Those are the greatest gifts that we receive when we do that, because those are the passing of a grand test from the universe that you both signed up for to take. And it's basically, in this case, the new affirmation that you're invited to hold is, I don't need someone outside of myself to go deeper. I go deeper in a way that my heart is guiding me to, because that's the depths, right? Not the mind. And so what I invite you to do is, we're going to do a little different technique now, is if you're open, just to clear any unhealthy cords, any negative cords and energies between both of you and just in your field. So are you open to that?
Yeah, yeah.
So go ahead, let's all visualize a black vortex underneath Wessel here, just starting to suck up and clear all unhealthy cords, agreements, and energies that no longer serve as highest good. And just keep breathing. They're already starting to drain out. And we're just shining golden light above you into a portal, just shining this healing, unconditional love to just fill yourself up back with light and clear and align all parts of you now. And just allowing all codependence and illusions that something outside of you is needed above your own heart and your heart's guidance. We're just allowing that to dissolve and clear all of that on all levels now with the golden flame. Just remember to breathe. Let it out now through your mouth. Deep breaths. There we go. Good. Couple more breaths. Let it fully out. Now is the moment. Just let it all go. Beautiful. And just asking your angels to soothe your nervous system, to help you trust and remember that you're guided in this process. And remember to love yourself. Remember that your feelings are not just a shallow thing that isn't important, but the frequencies that are being reflected back from your choices. And that the more that you live in a state of joy and safety, the better you can go deep, the better you can have clarity, the better you can go deeper with another, because you're allowing the foundation within yourself to be and remain clear as a prerequisite to anything that comes, right? And so how are you feeling right now?
I could literally feel like a bitter taste in my mouth when I was exhaling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like,
Well, you disconnected, you know, we're shifting timelines. So your whole physiology changed. I felt it there right at the end when you breathe, because we make all these subconscious contracts with what we're interfacing with, whether we're watching too much news or whatever it is. And when we truly choose to no longer interface with something that's not for our good, then it instantly changes our whole universe. And so it's just a reminder to always tune in and clear whatever's there. And remember that you don't have to sacrifice yourself in order to go deeper or push away your needs. And maybe that's some of what happened when you were a child, like many of us. And this is an opportunity for you to be more intimate and go deeper with yourself and be like, hey, you know, there's a lot of reasons I could stay or do this, but I'm finally choosing to trust my guidance. And and speaking directly to your little boy and being like, I'm here for you. When you're sad, when you're scared, in the next few days, I'm going to hold you. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to do whatever it takes to hold you so that you can only experience more depth, more love, more intimacy. And that's really what your heart has been calling in. And everything here was perfect in order to get you to this point.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. So what is it something that you're guided to do on a daily basis for the next week or two to really help anchor this in?
Yes, actually spending some time by myself, knowing that it's just like really dedicated quiet time with myself, knowing that I don't need anyone else to move through this thing.
Exactly. Because your intuition is guiding you the whole way. So shifting your environment and then tuning in multiple times a day for big and small decisions, from like what you get to eat or where you should be, or if you should reach out to someone, and just trusting. The smaller the gap is, you know, I actually love this quote. It says, the core concept of high magic is that a surrendered life eliminates the gap between intention and manifestation.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Great work.
Fuck. It's
Yeah.
fuck. It does. It does shift that fast. Like you just really understood it spot on. There's like this kind of codependent attachment between us, thinking that there's something that we can only be able to move together if we stay in this intensity.
Right. And that's no longer true, is it?
No, it's no longer true.
So the best thing is not to focus on that story, but to stay
Yeah.
focused on how you're choosing to show up for yourself as the
Yeah.
core of the depth of love and intimacy that you've been looking for.
Yeah.
And watch as your entire reality and world reflects that in more beautiful ways.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining. This was, I think, perfect. I just intuitively felt like ending with you, Wessel, at the end. And I know there's a few others that wanted to go, and we'll have plenty of opportunities next week for that. And also there's going to be this recording for those that want to get a refresher. We're going to put it on the course. So just remember, step one is create the container, ask for support, then reveal, let it be felt where and what is going on, and then ask those questions, communicate directly with that part of you, and then just listen and keep going deeper. Ask a few questions. Usually it's what it takes to get to the core until you really feel like, wow, right? And so sometimes it helps to do this on each other, and you can always reach out to each other and practice this, which I really recommend. And we do have a training. We're having an 8-week training coming up in a couple of weeks for anyone interested to be certified in this whole system. This is just one of many tools and a lot of advanced things we haven't shared here. If anyone's interested, please reach out. We'd love for you to join, so you could really master all the tools needed to really go into 2021 and support the quantum alchemy and also learn how to teach dream porting and learn how to be a healer, a coach, whatever you want to call yourself, a guide in this time, with a lot of really cool techniques that I've learned all over the world and that I've developed through my meditation. So again, thank you all for joining. Really great to connect with a lot of you